Welcome to you all. In our earlier video, we studied about the basic concepts of the DNA structure. Now, in this video, we are going to learn about the DNA replication. The genetic material must produce a large number of copies of itself during the life cycle of an organism through replication. During replication, information was present in the DNA was reproduced. All available evidences indicates that DNA replication is semi-conservative. The semi-conservative replication was postulated by Watson and Crick. The DNA molecule that undergoes replication may be termed as a parent molecule, while the two molecules produced by replication are called as progeny molecules or otherwise called as daughter molecules. This is the semi-conservative replication of the DNA. This is the center one is called as the parent DNA. It is showing two strands, double helix, one is green and another shown in brown color. And from this DNA, two daughter DNAs are reproduced, and here that brown strand from the parent DNA is shown here in the one of the daughter DNA, and this green strand is shown here in the another daughter DNA. So these two progeny DNAs or daughter DNAs are having one strand from the parent DNA and the other strand is called as the newly synthesized DNA strand. So it shows that half of the original DNA is conserved from the parents, and hence this type of replication is called as semi-conservative replication. This is also the figure explaining the semi-conservative replication. Within the single figure, this is the parent DNA having double helix structure, and from this each strand another newly synthesized strand was formed. These two are called as daughter DNAs, and here the parent strand is having red color double helix DNA strands. The newly synthesized strand is shown in brown color for this one and in with blue color in this one. These two strands are from the parent DNA. The complementary strands are synthesized using old strands as templates. So the parent strands are otherwise called as template strands, and these are called as complementary strands which are synthesized newly. Each progeny strand has one old and new strands of DNA. This was proposed by Watson and Crick, and this experimental evidence was done by Meisel and Stahl experiment. This is the simplified representation of the Meisel and Stahl experiment, which is an experimental proof for the semi-conservative replication of DNA. Here, for our convenience, the strands are shown in different colors. So what are the important features of the semi-conservative replication means progressive separation of the two strands of DNA molecule undergo replication, first point. The second one is complementary base pairing of the bases located in the single strand regions, thus produce the appropriate free DNTPs, formation of the phosphodiester linkages of the neighboring deoxyribonucleotides that have base paired with the single strand, and this shows that the base sequences of the new strands are complementary to those of the old strands. Each DNA molecule produced by replication has one old strand and one new strand. So using density gradient centrifugation, when the light DNA was there, the band is formed towards the mouth of the test tube. So the band is towards the mouth of the test tube. When the density gradient centrifugation is having a mixture of N14 and N15, both heavy DNA and light DNA. This is light DNA and this green one is heavy DNA. We are going to get two bands, one towards the mouth of the test tube, one towards the bottom of the test tube. So we are getting two bands, that means for light DNA and heavy DNA mixture. And the third one is only heavy DNA, that means N15. So this green one is called as the heavy DNA, and here we got the band at the base of the test tube. So we are using these three as standard protocols. Now here, after replication, we are going to get the band at the center, one replication of a heavy DNA. So after replication we are going to get, that means it shows that the progeny formed are having one parent character and one newly synthesized DNA. So one green and one red. Hence we got the band at the center, not towards the mouth of the test tube and not towards the bottom. At the second replication step, we got two bands, one at the center and one towards the mouth. This shows that we are having both the light DNA and also mixture, that means hybrid DNA. So here 2 light DNAs and 2 hybrid DNAs. So equal ratio 1:1, and hence we got equal size bands, one light DNA band towards the mouth of the test tube, one hybrid band at the center. Then next, after third replication, we got two bands, one with very narrow thickness and another with heavy thickness. Here we got in the third generation 8 hybrid DNA, 8 DNAs. Out of them 6 are light DNAs and only 2 are heavy DNAs. So as there are 6 light DNAs, we got very thick band towards the mouth of the test tube and only 2 hybrid DNAs, and hence at the center of the test tube this band is very narrow. So for hybrid DNAs, there is a narrow band at the center of the test tube. For 6 light DNAs, there is a heavy band at the mouth of the test tube. This shows that the hybrid DNAs are formed, which are genetic, getting the character from the parent DNA. This is F1 first generation, second generation and third generation. In the third generation, here there are light DNAs are 6 in number and hybrid DNAs are 2 in number. Altogether 6:2 means 3:1. So the ratio of light DNA to hybrid DNA is 3:1. So at the third generation step, we got 3:1 ratio, whereas here 1:1, here also 1:1, 50% character. We used to come across the double stranded DNA in a linear model like this. Suppose if at some point that origin of replication was identified, there we will observe the bubble like this. Then that bubble part is extended like this. This is the figure showing the origin of replication where there is a small bubble, and here the widening of the replication bubble and formation of the strands, leading strand and lagging strand. So here what we have to remember, this figure is always the upper strand is 3' to 5' and the lower strand is 5' to 3'. There is at the origin there is a bubble formation occurs, and here the new strand forms in the direction from 5' to 3'. Similarly, the next step is formation of the replication bubble, which was here extended here. So here small 2 strands are shown like this, blue strands, and one is red strand. So this single long strand is called as leading strand, and small strands which are formed, small strands are called as lagging strands. So here it was extended and shown like this. So the 3 small strands are called lagging strands. A single strand formed is called as a leading strand. And these small strands which are formed in the lagging strand, or those fragments, those are polynucleotides. They are formed into small fragments of DNA, and those are identified by the scientist Okazaki, and hence those are called as Okazaki fragments. And this is called as the semi-discontinuous synthesis of new DNA. Means on one side there is a continuous formation and on the other side there is small discontinuous synthesis of DNA occurs. So 50% continuous and 50% discontinuous, and hence this type of synthesis is called semi-discontinuous synthesis of DNA. So this red arrow is called as the continuous synthesis, and blue arrow which is having the lagging strands is called as a discontinuous synthesis. So this is the combination of the continuous synthesis and discontinuous synthesis, and hence this type of synthesis is called semi-discontinuous synthesis of new DNA. These are the enzymes involved in the DNA replication. So which enzyme plays which role? All the polymerases plays the role of the synthesis of a DNA strand. Out of them, DNA polymerases 3 play a main role. 1, 2, 3. DNA polymerase 1, DNA polymerase 2, DNA polymerase 3. DNA polymerase 1 is involved in repair and removing of primer and filling up of the gaps, whereas DNA polymerase 2 is involved only in the repair mechanism, and DNA polymerase 3 is replication main role. And apart from that, primase, which is required for the synthesis of the RNA primer. So this involves the transcription process, that means formation of the RNA primer. And whereas helicase, unwinding of the DNA, and gyrase, swivel action, which facilitates the unwinding. So these two combines together and leads to the unwinding of the DNA. The next one is ligase, which seals the Okazaki fragments. Endonucleases induces NICs. SS binding proteins, single stranded binding proteins, which stabilizes the single strands. That means these proteins bind to the single strands, and likewise they will stabilize the single strands, which reunites. This is the figure showing the action of DNA helicase and DNA gyrase. DNA gyrase here, swivel action. That means it facilitates the unwinding, and helicase unwinds the DNA. And here another point is single stranded DNA binding proteins, SSBP. And these are the single stranded binding proteins which are attached to the single strands which are separated by these two enzymes. So when these binding proteins are attached, these single strands remain as single strands. Otherwise, if these are not there, they will again move together and they will form a double helix. This is the figure explaining how to the RNA primer DNTPs are attached. So RNA primer initiating DNA synthesis. How the bond is formed between the RNA primer and the newly added DNTPs. So here this is the RNA primer, and this is the free 3' hydroxy end of this ribose sugar. And here this is the enzyme DNA polymerase, and this is DCTP. We are taking DCTP here as example. So this DCTP is entering here. So now this to this RNA primer, here at that 3' hydroxy end, one of the phosphate along with this structure, whole structure, is attached here, and the bond formed here is called as the phosphodiester bond. 3' 5' phosphodiester bond is formed here, and the remaining two phosphates are released. The amount of the energy along with it phosphates released, that amount of energy is utilized for the formation of the phosphodiester bond. Thus to the RNA primer, all the DNTPs one by one will attach here. So how the first DNTP is attached to the RNA primer is shown here. As we all know, that parent strand is called as the template strand, and this is the newly synthesized DNA strand. Here it is formed from the 5' direction to 3', and this is called as the RNA primer, and the chain extends like this. With the help of the DNA polymerase, all the DNTPs are attached to this RNA primer. So here after the chain length is extended to a certain distance, the RNA primer is excised. That means it will break there and it will be removed. So like that, this part is removed here. Now here only DNA polymerase is left, and this DNA polymerase extends the length like this. The role of DNA polymerase 1 is to minimize the gap between the two strands. Later, here the nick was sealed by DNA ligase. In between the two strands, as there is a small gap, that gap was sealed by DNA ligase. So this is the parent DNA, or otherwise called template DNA. This is called as progeny DNA or daughter DNA. These two things we are going to observe in the lagging strand of the DNA, replication DNA. So in the lagging strand, all these play a role. One is excision of the RNA primer, extension of the gap, minimizing the gap between the two strands by DNA polymerase 1, and nick sealing by DNA ligase. Like that, the lagging strand is completely formed. This is how we are observing the steps involved in the DNA replication. So this is the linear double helix DNA. Here there are the strands like this, nucleotides are there. These are the two strands. Upper strand is 3', 5', lower strand is 5' to 3'. Before this formation of linear DNA, it was double helix. With denaturation, it got this shape, and that the temperature at which it denatures is called as the melting temperature. Now, after this one, after the first step, what will happen is that the bubble formation takes place, and here we are going to observe two fork-like structures. Here these are extended structures, and like this we are going to observe. Here, after with the help of the enzymes, that is gyrase and helicase, swivel action and unwinding action, the two strands are separated here, and single stranded binding proteins bind to each strand, and thus stabilizing these two single strands. Then after that, with the help of the enzyme primase, RNA primer was synthesized. So here this primase initiates the transcription process for the formation of a 10 to 60 nucleotide length RNA primer, and this RNA primer here is leads to the formation of the DNA chain with the help of the DNA polymerase. So here the direction is like this, and here also the direction for this strand is from this like this. So these two run in opposite direction. Then as you see observe the figure, here we are observing the fork like structure, and this enzyme moves from left to right. So we are going to observe the fork like structure extended up to this, and again here also the gyrase and swivelase action moves towards the end. Like that the chain length also elongates. So in the leading strand the direction is like this, in the lagging strand the direction of the newly synthesized strand is like this. That means they are running in anti-parallel direction. So here it is 3 prime 5 prime, and here it is 5 prime to 3 prime. Here it is 5 prime to 3 prime. The newly synthesized strand is from 3 prime to 5 prime. Like that we are going to observe, and this is also the primer. So here why we are getting the lagging strand means here the primer is there. After the certain length is formed on the leading strand, then another primer was synthesized here, and it will lead to the formation of the small fragment here. Then with the help of the polymerase the chain was extended. Then again another primer was synthesized, and again with that primer again with the help of the DNA polymerase another fragment was synthesized. Like that, as it is moving towards in this direction, this gyrase and swivelase, new primers are synthesized here and after, and small fragments are formed on the lagging strand, whereas here only one strand is formed. All these fragments which are synthesized on the lagging strand are called as Okazaki fragments, and later with the help of the DNA polymerases the RNA primers are excised and these chains are extended, and with the help of the ligase they will combine together. Another figure. This is the overview of that figure. So this is the leading strand and this is the lagging strands. Here 3 prime to 5 prime direction, this is the one strand, and the lower strand is 5 prime direction to 3 prime direction, and the newly synthesized strand is complementary to this 3 prime 5 prime strand. So it is synthesized and it grows from 5 prime direction to 3 prime. This is the enzyme polymerase and this is primer. To the primer the addition of DNTPs are added and the chain length elongates in this way. And these are gyrase and helicases. These two are, they will move towards from left to right, and likewise the fork extends. And here the lower strand is 5 prime direction to 3 prime direction. When it moves towards like this, the gyrase and helicase, here the RNA primer was synthesized and to that DNTPs are attached and the chain elongates in this direction. That means from right to left, here from left to right. So likewise the chain length elongates here from 5 prime direction to 3 prime. And this is DNA polymerase, this is an RNA primer. The next one, another RNA primer. To that with the help of DNA polymerase, another small fragment is formed. So after some time what will happen? These RNA primers are removed and later the gap was minimized, and with the help of the DNA ligase, these chains are joined together. So these two are called, this strand is called lagging strand and these fragments are called Okazaki fragments, and this strand is called leading strand. This is the complementary DNA synthesized to the leading strand. DNA replication begins at a unique point called the origin. DNA, with the help of the DNA gyrase and the helicase, they will bind to the origin points and induce the unwinding of the complementary strands of the DNA double helix, and this is known as DNA melting. Two Y-shaped replication forks are formed at the origin. Single-stranded binding proteins bind to these replication forks and they facilitate the stability of the single strands. Primase initiates the transcription of and generates a DNA RNA primer. The free 3' hydroxy end of the RNA primer provides the initiation point for DNA polymerase for the addition of the dNTPs. The replication of the second strand 5' 3' of DNA molecule is discontinuous, and the 3' strand of DNA molecule is a leading strand where it is synthesized continuously. The RNA primer synthesis begins close to the replication fork and progress towards the origin. The direction of the lagging strand is opposite to the leading strand. The primer synthesis takes place more than once in the lagging strand and which generates small polynucleotide fragments called as Okazaki fragments. DNA polymerase 1 digests the RNA primer and catalyzes the filling up of the gaps between the two new strands. After filling up of the gaps by DNA polymerase 1, and the strands are joined together by DNA ligase. This is how the replication takes place in prokaryotes, and it was simplified. Thank you.